It's the Full Court Press.
Throws, ends it. Yes! Caught! Touchdown! Did he get it?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Full Court Press. Jason Walker, Eric Frandsen with you here. 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. Streaming online, 1069thefan.com and the 1069 The Fan mobile app. If you want to join the show, you can always text in 435-339-0321. Glad you could be here on a Tuesday. So, at least I think it's Tuesday. I make that joke every time I say what day of the week it is. I don't know if it gets old or not.
It's all day. It's Tuesday all day today.
All day, and then tomorrow it's Wednesday.
It's funny how that works.
Yeah. It's almost like somebody made a calendar or something. But plenty going on today. There's more and more coming out just every day. There's more coming out about, the Pac-12. They're kind of at the center of conference realignment. They're meeting, trying to get some kind of media deal to convince people to stay. What they're coming up with isn't super convincing. And Arizona may be on the way out. They're having a meeting today. May have already had it. I saw one person say they were calling a meeting at 5:30, but I didn't check what time zone they were referring to. So it could have either already happened, is about to happen, or will happen in about an hour and a half.
There you go.
Or tomorrow, depending on if they're talking about like China's time zone or something.
Wow, it could be really off. But yeah, so after Colorado announced it was leaving, the Pac-12 officials have been putting off this media deal for months, and I think they were duly motivated to get their remaining conference schools together and at least give them some detail as to what's being discussed, because apparently it's been very thin with what's been revealed to them, and that was the final straw for Colorado at media days at the end of July. Said, you keep putting it off, you won't give us details, you don't give us enough of what's going on, and so we're done. We're moving back to and to be frank, it's never really worked out here for us anyway. So we're going to go back to the Big 12. Criticize us all you want up there in Oregon, in your ivory towers, but we're going to be swimming in cash and playing people that we know and have a history with.
Yeah, and the key there just being making money, because that's the thing with all these conference realignments is it's about money and making money from the TV deal. And the Pac-12 doesn't even look like they're going to have a TV deal. It's just a media deal.
Right. And that's the key. Because apparently so Klyavkov, the commissioner, calls a meeting today, and he's trying to hold it together. And he's trying to get everybody together and say, look, this is what we're working on. It's not finalized, but this is what it's looking like. And you're right to point out this is a media deal, not a TV deal. Because it's reported by Pete Thamel and Heather Dinich on ESPN today, saying that several options were presented. Apple's streaming deal emerged as the likely leader at this point. And so you keep reading down through it and reading between the lines, like a vast majority of Pac-12 games would be available on Apple TV. So a streaming only option. The appeal to that to the schools might be no more late windows. We don't have to always play and do Pac-12 after midnight. We can do normal kickoffs when we want, and that's appealing to some degree, but you have to go search out these games to watch them. You can't channel flip and go back and forth. Like on a normal Saturday afternoon, I'm bouncing around between 4 or 5 different channels. And if I want to go catch a Pac-12 specific game, I'd have to go out of the app that I'm in, go find and dial up the Apple app, find the game. I can't bounce back and forth. I have to be committed to either that or something else. And that's why this could be really problematic.
Yeah, and if you don't have like an Apple device, it gets a lot harder. Especially as far as, watching it on TV, or I don't know exactly how it all works. I don't know if the Apple TV apps are like available on smart TVs.
They're available on a lot of them. I mean, you still have to
Yeah.
download them. You have to subscribe. There's still steps you have to go through.
But it can just be tricky. And the thing is, people are throwing a lot of money behind these streaming apps, but I don't know, I think live sports can kind of make it work. But whenever you've had companies try and sell the possibility of making tons of money with streaming, it hasn't worked out. Now, most of that has to do with, TV and movies and things like that. TV and movies haven't, or TV shows and movies have not drawn subscriber numbers. Maybe live sports will, because that's like the one thing keeping, live broadcasts alive is sports. It's the one thing people will, tune in at this time. I will buy this to watch this.
Right,
because
it's
of
still
the passion.
appointment listening or appointment viewing. It's not something you time shift because it happens in real time. And you have friends, buddies, you're doing things online and other people are talking about it. It's just, it's in real time is when it happens and when people consume it.
Yeah, and it's a continuous thing. You don't stop being a fan in most cases. Eventually the TV show ends but the live sports continues eventually. But still, even with that potential advantage, maybe I just don't know the industry enough. But it just doesn't sound right to me. Like when the MLS signed their Apple TV deal, like that worked for them because they're like this, low-level league and they're trying to build up. And, there was money involved and it kind of raised the entire league up because it was, not doing very well as far as media. I don't think they had a league-wide media deal. RSL was putting their games on KSL for free, which was great for some of us, but wasn't making tons of money for RSL. So when MLS goes to Apple TV, it was a positive. For the Pac-12, they were looking like Fox, ESPN. One point they were trying to make their own network.
CW.
Yeah. Well, like
the ACC's doing something with CW.
Yeah. Like I remember when Utah went over to the Pac-12 way back in, I don't know, was it 2009, 2010-ish, give or take a year. Like they were bragging about, we're going to, all the TV money they were making. Now what? You're going to be on a streaming service? Congrats, man.
Well, and so you look at media consumption, and there is value in having a streaming option, but to put all of your eggs in that basket right now is really risky.
Yeah.
I mean, ESPN is trying to it has its over-the-air, but it has its cable, it has its ESPN Plus, it has online options as well. But the way people are consuming media, yeah, it's changing. But to put all of it there can be really risky. And here's the thing. On top of this, after the meeting, this is, again, according to the report on ESPN from Pete Thamel and Heather Dinich, after the meeting this morning, there was still ambiguity about the potential value of this deal because there's some variance in number of subscriptions. So hearing the details on this, it sounds to me like the time when someone came and tried to present me with a multi-level marketing deal. Like, look, here's what it is, and you can make so much money if these people sign on, and then they get other people to sign on, and think about your downline, and whatever it is, your diamond classification. What? And they lost me, and I'm not going to just turn my friends into potential targets. And that's what this is kind of like. It's like, well, you can get, look, Pac-12 schools, here's the deal. You can make millions of dollars, but it really kind of depends on how many people subscribe and really start watching these games. But here's our potential. And it's still, some of the reports are saying it's really only about $20 million per school. And that's if these certain levels of subscription are met. So what if they're not? I mean, you're still not close to the Big 12 money. There's still a gap, and you're not on normal over-the-air, easy to find, accessible networks. So you've been spending months working on what? It's really embarrassing for the Pac-12.
Yeah, and the second any team dips because maybe they don't like the what if, where you have to constantly be overperforming subscriber numbers to match what a lot of these other conferences are getting guaranteed. So, like the second somebody dips, then, well, subscriber numbers drop. Every time somebody leaves, that's potentially millions of fans who are definitely not going to subscribe to your service. And it's like who's subscribing to Apple TV to watch Cal?
Yeah, right. I mean, what's the strength of your programs? What's your national appeal? Like the NFL did a deal with Amazon where they have one game on Thursdays, which is on subscriber-only Amazon Prime.
Yeah, but nobody watched Thursday Night Football anyway.
Right, so it's kind of an obscure night, an obscure game that's happening. But look, so streaming services are pushing into this more with live sports. But back at Media Day, Klyavkov said, and I quote, "There's an underlying shift in the media market that's happening, and we're long-term taking advantage of that."
Yeah,
I don't begrudge you for trying to be forward-thinking and trying to be ahead of the curve, but at the same time, you need to be aware of like what's happening today and still the next few years, and you've totally dropped the ball on taking care of your schools.
Yeah, and I think just with college football, it just doesn't work to have this separate service for just your conference. It's kind of why Pac-12 and like Big these conferences try to launch their own network. Heck, the Mountain West Network, they were trying it. Those don't work because people that wanted to subscribe to just one, they want to be able to watch all of college football, and you can pretty much get that with a cable package. With the MLS, if you're a fan of MLS, you buy the package, you can watch all of MLS. There's no question. You can watch everyone. But, if you're a college football fan, you're going to buy Apple TV just so you can watch the Pac-12. They already struggle with getting, interest beyond the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah, true. Look,
So,
it's not a problem having that as part of your deal, but to say that's everything, that's where it's a big mistake.
yeah, streaming is a convenience. It's not the destination.
Yes, very true.
So it's just trouble. It just feels like trouble. And, of course, again, there's still a continuous knock-on effect of the Mountain West, and I don't know. It's just going to be weird.
A couple texts coming through, 9315 on our Full Court Press text line. Let's start off with a big hello for the Pac-12. Signed, we won't be a conference any longer. P.S. Our new motto is move conferences or die.
Just about. But then again, you're like, we're not sure, like do all of the teams in the Pac-12 find a landing space to the east? Because it feels like there might be as few as one spot left open, depending on how serious some of the reports are, the Big Ten and Big 12, where their max number is. The Big Ten's max is 16. If the Big 12's max is 14. There's one spot. And Arizona looks like it's going to fill it.
Right. Well, their Board of Regents are going to meet. They're meeting today.
Yeah.
And this is not just, they potentially could be discussing both schools because the Board of Regents covers both Arizona and Arizona State, so they could be talking about it as a package deal.
Yeah. That's one thing is I have seen reports of Arizona, Arizona State, and even Utah all considering them a package deal. At least Arizona, Arizona State. But it's actually kind of refreshing that those two say, hey, we're a package deal. Be nice if teams in the same state did that.
Odd concept.
Like, how many same-state rivalries are actually in the same conference anymore? Like, you've got the Iron Bowl, you've got, I don't know, are USC and UCLA, do they really consider them? I mean, they're in-state rivals.
Yeah.
Crosstown rivals.
Crosstown rivals.
But, like, Utah, BYU, they're not in the same conference.
Iowa State are in different conferences.
Yeah, different conferences. Like bunch of different, cross-state rivalries. If Oregon and Washington leave, that throws two more.
Yeah.
Cross-state rivalries out the window.
5338 texting in. I've been thinking about the viewership numbers you threw out last week regarding the Tour de France. Is it Tour de France or Tour de France?
It depends
on how fancy you're feeling.
If you like watching the Tour de France, it's Tour de France. If you're a normal person, it's Tour de France.
If you're an American, rural American. It's Tour de France. Anyway, $3.5 billion. Our crack statistical team here at the 5338 Sports Re-Education Academy and think tank estimates that would be half the world's population. Color me skeptical.
Is that the TV viewership you were saying?
Yeah, so there were, it was Fubo TV provided a top 10 list of most viewed sporting events. And the thing to keep in mind is these are events on the aggregate. So World Cup, like, for example, the Super Bowl is one day. World Cup is over a couple of weeks. Tour de France is over a couple of weeks. NCAA Final Four, just a couple of days, or even in March Madness overall. So it was on the aggregate. So overall viewership over the time of its event cycle. So that could include multiple people tuning in multiple times.
Yeah, and so that's the problem, is that Tour de France is not that popular.
In America.
It's not even nearly as popular as the World Cup.
It was number 1 worldwide.
No.
That's according to
People are not, like, it's playing on random news stations in gyms. That's
America.
That's like half the viewership of the Tour de France. It's just people who have it on all day, and they're not even actually watching.
I just went off the list that I had. It wasn't one that I made up.
And I don't trust the numbers.
I was shocked as well.
Like, Tour de France is a big deal. But
It's a big international event, and it's part of it's the viewership, I guess, advantage as opposed to the Super Bowl is that it's over like a 23, 24-day event.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, which is bigger, the March Madness or the Super Bowl? March Madness gets more aggregate views. Which is bigger? It's the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl is the bigger event.
Like, the halftime show of the Super Bowl is like a bigger deal than half the sporting events in America.
Yes.
And it's the halftime show of the Super Bowl. Like,
But
it's
for
the
every
break
time-
in between the game being played.
Well, for every TV that you may count for a viewership of the Super Bowl, you have to figure there's at least 8, 10, 12 people watching that together.
Yeah. Like, half of America is watching the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And that's
At
just,
least.
5 hours. They're all glued to their TV, whether they're watching the halftime show, commercials, or the game. Tour de France, it's something you follow when you turn on because, I guess they're following bikes.
In America. But again, these are global numbers that I was throwing out last week.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, you compare the Tour de France to the World Cup, it's night.
Yeah, I was a little skeptical of that. I would have put World Cup number 1, the Olympics up there. But again, the Olympics, that's only every 4 years. The Tour is every year. Of course, World Cup is only every 4 years as well. So, yeah, there's some ambiguity there. It doesn't exactly.
But people are a
apples to
million
apples.
times more passionate about the World Cup than just literally everything else.
Oh, worldwide, absolutely.
So you can probably find events that might get more numbers than the World Cup. I can't imagine there's more than one or two, and I guess Tour de France is one of them.
Cricket was another one. Some cricket.
See, that's another one, though. But you got some of the most populous countries in the world, like India, that love cricket.
Very passionate about it. We know nothing about it here.
So it's just like, but there's just a much bigger passion for soccer or football, as they call it in about 95% of countries.
That's true.
Anyway, so more coming up. We'll got a transition. We're going to take a break. Coming up, we'll have, I believe, number 19.
Number 19 on our list.
Yeah, number 19 on the list of top 25 Aggies of 2023. We'll have that coming up. It's also watch list season. We're coming out with all these watch lists that they just become kind of a big deal and just part of the preseason. We'll talk about some watch lists that have come out, the ones that will come out in the future, maybe ones Aggies could make. We've also got the stats that blow our mind and the player of the week coming up on the rest of this show. Don't go away.
Cherry Peak Resort's summer concert series is bigger than ever. Joan Nichols, August 12th for an unforgettable evening.
Good day for living. Give me that smile and I'm somewhere sunny at 75. Down
Joe Nichols with special guest Charlie Jenkins.
Sometimes that mountain doesn't move.
August 12th. Visit skicpr.com for your summer concert series tickets at Cherry Peak Resort.
We built this city.
Cherry Peak Resort Summer Concert Series is bigger than ever.
This city on rock and roll.
Starship Live. August 18th. Under the Stars. On Utah's best outdoor concert stage. Get your tickets today for Starship, August 18th. Visit skicpr.com for your summer concert series tickets at Cherry Peak Resort.
For more than a century, couples have shopped at S.C. Needham Jewelers. Known for a large selection of beautiful diamonds, we now have both natural and lab-grown diamonds. You're sure to find a diamond engagement ring that will fit your budget. The possibilities today are endless as you select the perfect ring. Show her you'll cherish her forever with a diamond, either natural or lab-grown, from the store where Utah gets engaged. S.C. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. We have some surprising but awesome news to announce. Purple, the rocket ship in the mattress industry, has purchased IntelliBed, the best mattress in the industry. We could not be more excited. The beds have yet to arrive, but we flew out with Purple, and seriously, this new IntelliBed Purple lineup, it is immaculate. We have the whole Purple lineup and the IntelliBed Purple lineup. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally? Only at My Mattress, now partnered with IntelliBed Purple.
Make it 3 years in a row. Advanced Heating and AC is honored to be named gold medalist for the best of Northern Utah in the AC HVAC category. They thank you for your support and vote of confidence in their company. You have many choices when it comes to your home's heating and air conditioning system. Make sure you choose the gold medal winning company, Advanced Heating and AC. Call 752-7272 or stop by their showroom west of DI. Online at advancedheating-ac.com.
And now, the Dan Patrick Show.
Dan Patrick.
The first thing I thought of, buzzer sounds, confetti, Ja Morant. Ja Morant. You're on the clock, Ja.
Nobody needed this game to go to 6 more than him.
Yeah, or 7. Yeah.
Who needed this game to go one more?
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler or Ja Morant?
Yeah, Ja Morant.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan and the Danettes and you.
Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan. It doesn't matter who you root for. The Full Court Press has all the high school sports covered. The Full Court Press. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at 1069thefan.com.
Welcome back, Full Court Press. Jason Walker, Eric Frandsen. As always, if you want to join the show, you can text in 435-339-0321. But at about this time every day, at least on weekdays, we're revealing another entry on our top 25 Aggies of 2023. We've gone all the way down through number 20. We're doing number 19 today. So with that, let's go ahead and reveal who number 19 is on the list of top 25 Aggies of 2023.
The Cache Valley Media Group's countdown of the top 25 Aggie football players for 2023. On our list at number 19 is Cole Moats, who has played quite a bit the last couple of years on the offensive line, starting at different times. He is a 2-year Letterman junior, 6'5", 290 pounds, out of Thatcher, Arizona. To help on the offensive line, number 19 on our list, Cole Moats.
So number 19, Cole Moats, projected as the starting right tackle. As Al mentioned, he's played a decent amount, started a bit here and there, largely as an injury fill-in. He's, primarily backing up like Jacob South, who was a starter for a couple of years. I think he filled in for Alfred Edwards in a game or two that Edwards missed. So those are when his starts have been, but even then, he'd sub in for Jacob South on a lot of occasions. They'd split a lot of the snaps throughout a game, so Cole Moats hasn't been a quote-unquote starter for pretty much his entire career. but he's also one of a handful of Aggies on this team to play more than 1,000 snaps in his career with the Aggies. So he's experienced, despite maybe not having the starter tag, which he's about to inherit now with Edwards and Cole Moats Edwards and Jacob South, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, he appeared in every game last year, started 4 times, had 8 starts in his redshirt sophomore season, redshirt freshman season in 2021. And so he actually started more games as a redshirt freshman, as he did as a redshirt sophomore last year. But as you said, those were kind of in plug-and-play situations. But this is a guy who does have a lot of snaps and a lot of experience as a member of that offensive line. 6'5", 305 pounds. He's a big body on that offensive front, and going to play a really big role in protecting his quarterback and helping to set up the run game as well. So I like that this is one of those players for Utah State. In some of these who we've already been discussing at the lower end of our top 25 here, guys who have had opportunities before in the system, and this is the year for them to kind of step forward and play a larger role as a starter or as a more impact player for Utah State. Cole Moats certainly fits that criteria and is the next one in line to do that, I believe.
And there's a lot riding on the offensive line, especially these guys coming back, because they need to come back and they need to show improvement. Because the offensive line is like the one position group where I'm just worried there's not a path forward to them being any better than they were last year. Like, at best, they'd be as good as last year. And I don't like saying that because I feel like the offensive line is just so crucial to, obviously, the development of the running back room. You're replacing Calvin Tyler Jr., 1,000-yard rusher. You need the offensive line to be stable for the next guy coming in because, it can often not matter who that running back is. If they don't have a good offensive line, they're not going anywhere. Unless they're Barry Sanders out there. And Barry Sanders ain't walking through that door.
No.
At least not 1990s Barry Sanders. So they need to have a good offensive line for guys like Robert Briggs and Davon Booth and all these other running backs so they can have a smooth transition into more snaps. And then obviously Cooper Lagai, he's got to have time back there. We're talking about maybe the improvement of the wide receiver core. He's got to have time to throw to these guys, especially when we talk about their speed. Get down the field, those take time to get open. So a guy like Cole Moats, he's going to play a huge role because he needs to improve and not just say, all right, well, I'm the starter now. I'm going to keep playing the way I have. Because he's got to step in and at least be as good as the guy he was replacing, if not better, if this offensive line is going to be good enough to, have the offense be as good as we want it to be.
Yeah, no, totally agreed. And just here's somebody that's been in the Aggie system for a while. He's learning, he's growing, he's improving. His redshirt freshman year, he's graded out at 80%, improved that to 84% last year, even though he had fewer starts, but he did appear in more games. In fact, he was graded out at a 96% in the game at Colorado State. So we know he has that potential to be a very impactful offensive lineman for USU.
Yeah, he's played pretty good at times. And like I said, if he continues to improve, and that's something that can be hard to quantify. Like, how much do you actually improve year to year? Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. These guys are in the starting role for a reason, They get better. They don't just fall into a starting position by accident. Cole Moats has earned his spot on the field year after year, despite being behind guys like Jacob South and Alfred Edwards, who are pretty solid tackles, but Cole Moats was fighting them for snaps. So there's definitely something there. So if he steps in, plays consistent, continues to improve, the Aggies are going to be fine at right tackle if that's the case.
Yeah, he wears number 56, and he's number 19 on our list of top 23 Aggies. That's Cole Moats for Utah State.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take another quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue to talk a little bit of Aggies, maybe touch a little bit more on the conference realignment. Now you're over there reading some articles, trying to, as we scramble, trying to get more information on what's going on. But we'll continue to talk about that here on the Full Court Press.
How many years has it been since you were married? 1 year? 10 years? Longer? This is Jarek from Jarek's Fine Jewelry. No matter how many years it's been, you always remember just how you felt. Show her you love her all over again with something special from Jarek's. We can help you surprise her or bring her in and you can pick it out together. Maybe it's restyling the old ring or upgrading to a larger diamond that she just may have hinted about. No matter how many years it's been, let us help make it special on your anniversary.
Jarek's Fine Jewelry. Make it special, make it Jarek's.
Advanced Fireplace and Stove wants to thank you for voting them 3 years running the gold medal winners in the Best of Northern Utah contest. With over 35 display models in their showroom, their goal is to make the process of making your home comfortable and cozy an easy experience. With premier brands like Napoleon and Dimplex, they have something for every style, every home, every budget. Building or renovating, they've got you covered. Advanced Fireplace and Stove, where comfort is their business.
Imagine your wedding day. Elegant, simple yet stunning, stress-free. It's your day. It's all about you. Whether you're looking for small and simple or have a grander idea, the Riverwoods Conference Center will accommodate your every need. Choose the inside ballroom elegance or outside along the natural decor of the beautiful Logan River. A Riverwoods event planner will work personally with you to make sure your event is exactly how you've envisioned it. The Riverwoods Conference Center, where your happily ever after begins. Google Riverwoods Conference Center or call 750-5151.
Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, the Allergy Clinic and Hearing Aid Center are conveniently located at 2 locations, North Logan inside the new Three Peaks Medical Plaza and Providence on Gateway Drive. Doctors Benyon, Blotter, and Robinette, along with the entire staff, have over 75 years of combined medical experience, guaranteeing your family the very best patient care. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat serves all of northern Utah and southern Idaho and accepts most insurance products, including SelectMed. Go to CacheValleyENT.com for appointments and details. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, North Logan and Providence.
At Cache Valley Bank, we are celebrating our pioneers and their contributions to shaping our great state. Join us as we celebrate the Days of 47 with our promotion. From now until July 31st, you can receive a 4.7 annual percentage yield on an 18-month certificate of deposit, or a 4% annual percentage yield on an 1847-day certificate of deposit. Come visit us or give us a call to learn more and be part of the celebration. Cache Valley Bank, mountains await. Member FDIC. No minimum balance required. Early withdrawal penalty may apply.
The Doug Gottlieb Show.
Is there a doctor here? Listen. If he's going to be a backup, that's fine. If they're going to get another dude who can create shots, fine. What Chris Paul is a shell of his previous self. And oh yeah, by the way, in his prime he got hurt in key situations. Now after his prime, he's getting hurt every year at this time of year.
The Doug Gottlieb Show.
Weekday afternoons from 1 to 3 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan. Join the show by calling 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back, Full Court Press. 435-339-0321. Number you can text in to join the show. 8968 chiming in saying, I was discussing the Aggies dilemma with some friends this morning. One brought up that the Aggies may be looking at the Big Sky Conference with our biggie game being Weber State.
Let's hope not.
Yeah, that would be, I don't know if the Aggies want to move down to the FCS, but I don't know, maybe they'd be, perennial FCS, one of those teams in the FCS playoffs every year. A couple of the Dakota States are in that situation. They're debating whether or not they want to go to the FBS because they got it decent enough in the FCS.
Right. I mean, you'd be a big fish in a small pond, or you'd be a really small fish in a very large pond.
Yeah, that's kind of the question sometimes. But Aggies have a bit of a bigger budget than some of the FCS teams.
Oh, yes.
15, 20 million more than them.
Pretty big gap.
But, just obviously talking about big fish, small ponds, and just the ponds in general. I know we're still looking over all this stuff with conference realignment. A bunch of news coming out with Arizona, or at least reports coming out like right before we're going on our show. I know, Eric, you've been looking through an ESPN article and just some particulars of just what Arizona's trying to do, and the fact that they seem like signs are pointing to them going to the Big 12.
Right. Arizona State was very public in its allegiance to the Pac-12 around media days in Las Vegas. Oregon State issued a statement that they were very, very much in favor of sticking with the Pac-12, but no one's talking to Oregon State, really. But Arizona, there have been reports that the University of Arizona in Tucson, they've been engaged with these discussions, and they've been entertaining some thoughts of the Big 12. And so the Arizona head coach, Jed Fish, he was addressing local media at the start of training camp, and fielded a lot of questions about realignment and what's going on. And he said he told the reporters that he did a video conference with all of his players and their families, and to assure them, and this is again according to this report from Pete Thamel and Heather Dinich, and it says, to assure them that clarity on the future would emerge soon, he said a guiding force in the process would be, quote, stability wherever we land, close quote. Now, that sure sounds to me like the Big 12, probably the biggest thing coming for them.
Yeah, stability doesn't sound like a word used with the Pac-12 right now or going forward. Like, it doesn't seem like they match.
You've got schools leaving. You're uncertain about your opportunity to watch games. Your revenue distribution is uncertain. Stability is not what I would attach to the Pac-12 right now.
There's not a single stable thing about the Pac-12 except the seeming stability of teams wanting to leave.
Right. Another report, now this came out last night or Tuesday afternoon. This is from John Wilner, San Jose Mercury News. No, excuse me, this wasn't John Wilner. This was Mark Ziegler. This is in San Diego Tribune. And so this is reporting more specifically on, what about San Diego State? What are their options? What's going on? How could that affect the Aztecs? And interesting piece here is, if San Diego State were to leave, when would they leave, and how do they afford to leave? And according to his report, this Mark Ziegler's report, it says one report Monday speculated the Pac-12 might help defray the exit fees of expansion candidates, but they'd start at only a half share and gradually increase over the length of the contract. If the value of the new media rights deal is in the $20 million to $25 million range per year, as many expect, a half share could be little as $10 million, or only about $4 million more than San Diego State currently gets from the Mountain West. The Big 12 deal is worth $31.7 million per year, far larger linear TV component on ESPN and Fox. And additionally, one more wrench to throw into this is San Diego State is known to need some significant upgrades to its broadcast capabilities on campus, which is surprising considering they just poured a lot of money in a new football facility that they wouldn't have added or improved some broadcast capabilities with that. But according to Mark Ziegler, he says they need significant upgrades that could cost between $10 to $15 million. And San Diego State ranks last in the Mountain West in their broadcast capabilities. So on top of the $34 million exit fee they'd need to pay, they would need to throw in another 10 to 15 to improve their broadcast capabilities on their campus to be up to snuff with other Pac-12 standards.
And that's where, this all kind of goes to crap because, we talk about, maybe the Pac-12 surviving with these 9 teams and you add 3 more, but it's just, can they afford to add these teams? Because Pac-12 ain't swimming in cash.
No.
They aren't going to be swimming in a giant TV deal. Can a program like San Diego State afford to throw, what would it be, about $50 million, if you're including, upgrading broadcast capabilities? They throw $50 million more dollars at moving conferences where, if they're, get the half share membership or whatever. I don't know how long that lasts.
Right. We're going to move conferences, but we see no revenue increase.
Yeah. For half a decade or more.
Several years.
And so it's like, you're looking at really, really, really long term. And that's assuming that the Pac-12 is maxing out its media rights.
Right, all of its subscription levels.
Yeah, that it is getting the 20 to 25 million. Because if it's not getting that, and heaven forbid San Diego State make less money per year for a couple of years, if they're getting that half membership and the Pac-12 is under 20 million a year per school, and San Diego State would be making less money on media rights and have dropped tens of millions of dollars to leave their conference. But
the schools they play will be different.
Yeah. They'll be in the Pac-12 Conference of Champions, everybody. That's where you wonder, like, can the Pac-12 pull it off? Because imagine San Diego State would look to the Pac-12 for help. But I don't know if the Pac-12 could help. So it's a bunch of teams that are taking a huge risk that in 10 years, all their financial troubles will be over.
That's why SMU seems to be moving up the ladder a little bit as a potential target. But that just seems like such hypocrisy from the Pac-12 that they would consider adding that school, but they would never consider adding BYU in the past.
Yeah, it's true.
So, whatever. I mean, it's all such a sham anyway, and it's all turned on its ear over the last few years here.
Yeah, and we mentioned yesterday where the Pac-12's own snobbery has just about ruined them. You know, it worked for 100+ years when, motives were maybe a little different. They were a little more, I don't know if I want to use the word honorable. I don't think honorable ever fits with the NCAA.
Yeah.
But this more, less just complete greedy TV deal type stuff. Whereas nowadays, the last 10, 20 years, it's just all about TV deals, all about TV markets, all about just maxing out that, per year number. Whereas it's not as about rivalries and all this other stuff. The Pac-12's mindset worked in the old format. Now it's ruined them. Because they're losing all the valuable teams who are realizing their value and want to go play with the big kids because the Pac-12 fell off the, big kid wagon about 5 years ago.
I know there's some criticism of the Big 12. Like, look at the schools they've brought in after losing Oklahoma and Texas. How many games in the last few years have those schools won when they are competing against other Power 5 schools? And it's single digits. It's not very many at all. But the point is that the Big 12 is trying to be proactive in salvaging its conference and still being relevant. And they've also been able to advance into large media markets in the process, as of yet untapped in Power 5 situations. So give them credit.
Yeah, the thing is that, the Big 12 is worse off than they are before. You lose Texas and Oklahoma, that hurts. You've done lost a kidney there. Maybe more. Almost the heart of your conference. But they're surviving. They brought in programs that are at least quality programs that have, a leg to stand on. At least they've beaten big programs. And heck, when you talk in TCU, they go to the, when they went to the Pac-12 and to the Big 12, when they made their move. Their entire, resume was built off of a couple of seasons that they'd, proven to be successful.
Yeah.
And then when they went into the bigger conferences, they were terrible. But then they built themselves up. Utah's going to the Rose Bowl. TCU is going to the playoff, in football at least. So why can't BYU and UCF and all these other teams not pull off the same thing eventually? Provided there's money, and there's going to be money.
Right. There'll be opportunity, there'll be a path, and there'll be a lot of dollars heading their way that they don't have to fundraise for or rely on anything that they do for external fundraising. It's just part of being in that conference.
Yeah, they can pay their coaches big bucks. They can buy other people's coaches.
They can repair and expand and improve facilities.
Yeah. Get NIL money, maybe divert fundraising into NIL, keep your players. They're going to be playing with the big boys now, and it may not be pretty initially. We kind of make fun of BYU for how ugly it might be this season for them, but it was ugly for Utah at the start of the Pac-12. So wait 5-6 years to start making fun of these teams if they aren't performing in the Big 12. Because long term, the Big 12 is probably going to be fine. Again, they don't have Oklahoma, Texas, historic powerhouse programs. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That kind of sucks. But overall, it's going to be at least a decent conference. They'll be okay. The Pac-12 might just straight up die. So
9315 texting in, everything you guys just talked about sounds like a bullseye of desperation that won't help the Pac or keep the Pac alive. But maybe this time Utah State won't get the raw end of a deal. The Mountain West Conference, if anything, stays the same or improves with new schools coming in. If any new schools come in, it's because the Pac-12 dissolves. That's the only place the Mountain West is bringing new schools.
Yeah, at least if you're bringing in schools, that aren't like, FCS programs. Because the Pac-12 survives and just, poaches the Mountain West, and the Mountain West has to look for 3 or so teams.
Even if it's a streaming-only deal, but they're going to have a guarantee in the $20 million range, that's still 3 times more than what every Mountain West school is getting today.
Yeah. So every Mountain West team that, sure, the Pac-12 was 1,000% desperate at this point, they'll still jump.
Right. They'll still take the call.
Yeah. If it's $18 million, like I said, it's 3 times. Utah State would jump. They're not going to get asked, but anybody would. So that's why, if you're looking at all this, you got to root for more teams to leave the Pac-12 and for them to actually just have to dissolve and not get anything TV deal-wise.
Right, because it looks like the Mountain West has a better TV deal than the Pac.
At least they have a TV deal.
Yeah, they have a TV deal.
They are on television. The Pac-12 may not actually be on television, but that kind of matters. Because people do actually do streaming, but
yeah.
I don't know. It's a wacky world. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, stat player. I know Eric's got a stat and player. I was trying to find one. I might have to make something up. I try and keep things local, but nothing local has happened. So I don't know what to do.
It's kind of rough.
So we'll have that.
High school sports right around the corner, though.
That's true. I'm like 1 week out from being able to, stay local. I meant like the entire summer for the most part. But this time I might actually be out of luck. We'll take a break. We'll be back here on the Full Court Press.
With inflation at record highs, why buy new if you can repair your current machine? Daryl's Appliances factory-trained technicians spend hundreds of hours in training each year to ensure your appliance is repaired right the first time. You can have peace of mind. They offer no-risk service, meaning if you want to purchase new, instead of repair, you can apply up to $95 of your service call towards an appliance purchase. See store for details. Daryl's West on Airport Road, open until 6 p.m. on weekdays, 5 on Saturday.
Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. I'd like to invite you to learn more about us. Since 1997, we've been Utah's premier one-stop shop for home medical equipment. What sets us apart at Alpine Home Medical is the superior level of customer service. We provide home oxygen, CPAPs, wheelchairs, scooters, breast pumps, and so much more. Come on down and get to know us.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Visit alpinehomemedical.com.
When it comes to home care, it's important to know you have a choice. If you or a loved one is in need of hospice or home health services, remember that Primrose Home Care and Hospice believes in treating the patient as well as the problem. We work directly with you and your doctor to create a health plan that's catered to your needs. Our team is devoted to providing options in the freedom and safety of your own home. Visit us at primrosecare.com or call to schedule a free consultation. Primrose Home Care and Hospice, your local hospice and home health provider since 2006.
When a tiny drop causes a ripple and becomes a wave, it travels through all corners of the planet, sustains all forms of life, and provides streams of wonder, rivers of adventure, and oceans of discovery. One drop connects us all. Reserve your visit now to Loveland Living Planet Aquarium, a nonprofit organization.
A rule of thumb is if your air ducts look dirty, they probably are. Dirty ducts should be cleaned by a certified professional like John Hansen of the Duct Hunter. In a typical 6-room home, up to 40 pounds of dust, contaminants, and air pollutants are created annually, and this builds up in the ductwork. Dirty ducts may be contributing to large health issues that can cause serious problems with people with respiratory health conditions, autoimmune disorders, or allergies. Don't risk it. Give the Duct Hunter a call, 770-4813, to clean out the dirty ducts in your home.
We are
It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
If you're a do-it-yourself kind of guy, then Napa Auto Parts is a good place to know. So if you're anything other than like me, I'm not much of a do-it-yourself guy, but if you are, Napa features all the best brands: Coil, Amsoil, Schaefer, BG, Seafoam, all the stuff you need. Napa Auto Parts. So we're going to close out the show. Stat that blew our minds, player of the week. Might skip out on playing the fancy sounds. We've only got a few minutes.
That's fine.
But I'll start with a stat that blew our minds. That's one I was actually able to find. Let's start with you. What do you got, Eric?
Okay, so mine is from the Women's World Cup from last night. Not a great showing from Team USA. They did get through group stage, but they didn't win their group. But they won only one game. Two other games were draws, and that's the only time that's the first time that's happened in tournament history. They scored just 4 goals for Team USA. They scored just 4 goals over 3 games. That's the fewest since 2011.
Yeah, not a great showing. Mine was just kind of also related to U.S. women's national team just not performing to, what has generally been an excellent standard. The fact they haven't performed to like the elite standard had to happen at some point. But mine was, I'd seen that, prior to facing Portugal in that final match of group play, they were 10-0-0, won every time they'd ever faced Portugal and outscored them 39-0.
Wow.
In those matches. So USA was winning by an average of 4 goals almost. And then they tied them. So that's just kind of what blew my mind, is that you're this dominant over a team.
Portugal was so close to winning, just that one shot just went off the crossbar.
Yeah,
off the post in extra time. Very close to losing.
Yeah, just kind of frustrating. This is one of the teams that you really rally behind, because in international play, at least in men's soccer, not even close to being the best. So the fact that the women's team has been this good, but now they're not.
Yes.
So it's a little frustrating that they aren't living up to who they've been.
My player of the week, I got to give it to Ronald Acuna Jr. from the Atlanta Braves. On the 29th, he recorded his 50th stolen base of the season, and he's the first Major League Baseball player with at least 20 home runs and 50 steals before August. But here's something else that's interesting about that Braves team overall. In researching a little bit more about Acuna and what he's done, the Braves have 5 players on their team with at least 20 home runs before August. That's the second team in Major League Baseball history to ever do that. The only other team were the Blue Jays back in 2000.
There you go.
Very rarefied air. So, I want to mention, we appreciate McDonald's. They've been sponsoring Player of the Week for a lot of high schools that we've been doing over the past year, and sponsoring our Player of the Week that we talk about now on Tuesdays. So make sure you stop in at your local McDonald's, and they are hiring. So they have lots of different positions. They have a lot of different places where you can work, and they even offer tuition reimbursement. So a lot of great places to go get some jobs at different times of the day, different days of the week, available at McDonald's.
Yeah, and with high school sports starting up, we're going to have our Player of the Week again. So we're going to be really excited about that.
Next Friday, August 11th, is when high school football begins. Girls soccer, I think that's beginning. Is that beginning this weekend? Or does that begin next week too?
It might. I have to look that up.
Both of them are right upon us. I know that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Really exciting. It's really excited that sports is just literally around the corner. We're going to be doing media days and fall camp and, high school. We're going to be talking to high school football coaches over the next couple of weeks. We're setting up those meetings. Talk with some of the football coaches of the local teams. So it's just about upon us, everybody. It's here.
I know. It always seems early when it arrives, and I'm always unprepared. As much as I try to forward plan for it, it always seems to sneak up on me. But once it does arrive, it's like, oh, yes. it's football time.
Yeah, that's the thing is
It's fall sports time.
I have like this whole stack of, football team previews, and I was like, I look and be, I can work on those a little bit later. I've done some leg work, pushed off a little bit. And then I get back from vacation. I was like, oh, yeah, I got to finish these like this week. Or I'll finish them after we talk to the coaches. So
it'll be fun. It'll be interesting. We've got a new coach at Green Canyon. We've got a few coaches. This is coming into their second year. We got a new coach at Logan. So some veteran coaches and some new ones too.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. We'll have that up in the next couple of weeks. Make sure to listen.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Major League Baseball's trade deadline is officially here, and Shohei Ohtani is not on the move. But today's 6 p.m. trade deadline still provides teams a unique opportunity to improve their rosters one more time. Over the last decade, the deadline has helped propel multiple teams into a deep playoff run. Just go back to last year. The Padres acquired Juan Soto, Josh Hader, and Josh Bell. That helped the team reach the National League Championship Series. In 2016, the Cubs, they secured flame-throwing closer Aroldis Chapman. Chapman helped end the 108-year World Series drought. In 2015, the New York Mets acquired Yoenis Cespedes. The outfielder went on to hit 17 home runs on his way to propelling New York to the World Series, while gathering some MVP votes along the way. There are plenty of players available who are capable of replicating that success. And with 18 total teams currently boasting a winning record, this afternoon could be really important in what happens in October. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.